Greetings, you beautiful beings, and welcome back to the F1 23 Last to First Championship. Today, we've headed to the Temple of Speed, the Italian Grand Prix. Filled with history, what kind of history can we make today? Well, in the AlphaTauri, probably not much. However, we're driving as the smiley man himself, Daniel Ricciardo. So let's put a smile on the face of all of the grid in qualifying. Qualifying time here at Monza, the venue of Daniel Ricciardo's last Formula 1 win, and he's destroyed it. A 1 minute 10 across the line. It's an absolutely what the fuck? No, I'm calm. I'm not calm. I'm so angry. We did a 1 minute 10. We deserve to be on pole position. I mean, look, we didn't even do anything wrong, man. I mean, where are they getting this from? Bruh. Oh. Look, I mean, I took slight liberties with the track limits. They can forgive me for that, surely. It's a horrendous Horlicks from the Honey Badger, and I fear my testicles will get ripped off. But anyway, let's look elsewhere before that happens. Max Verstappen, pole position, but his teammate Perez is nearly half a second behind him, but still P2. McLaren of Norris P3, Ferrari doing okay, Mercedes actually on, yeah, we're lost. We are firmly lost. It's our first DSQ of the entire championship, and let me tell you why. Daniel Ricciardo famously said, and this is a true quote, track limits are advisory. Unfortunately, the FIA didn't see it that way, so now he has no testicles. Well, it might feel like an injustice, but, well, we're lost. Well, that wasn't part of the plan, I'll be honest with you. However, as Monza is where Danny Rick last won an F1 race, let's conjure up something special. 5 red lights in Monza. Lights out and away we go, and it seems like a relatively even start against the AI, but oh my goodness, the second phase is meteoric. We're a rocket ship. Just like Saturn V, we surge past and down the inside with our massive cojones of a bunch of cars. 3 wide into the first chicane. That's never going to end well, but we do make it end well. That's 9 positions gained in 2 corners. That's incredible. What a start there from the AlphaTauri driver that we are, so well done me. Tobogganing down towards De La Roja, and no opportunity opening up there for us. We have to bide our time on Alex Albon. Yes, the grid is all bunched up, but we know how hard they battle here at Monza. The AI love a good spicy battle, and here's them bringing the sauce now, like a bottle of ketchup. Alonso making it 3 wide into Parabolica. Piastri in the middle of a sandwich he doesn't want to be a part of. He withdraws his allowance form, and suddenly we have massive slipstream on Alonso. His lights flashing, not deploying ERS, and oh my god, it's 4 wide down the straight. This could only end badly. This can actually only end badly. Oh my god, we're actually going for it. 4 wide into the first chicane, we get squeezed to the apex, and we decide that's enough of that. But our zesty slide on the exit means Lance Stroll now is alongside us. We check for damage, no damage on our car, thankfully. Using the slipstream of Piastri up ahead to try and keep up and get ahead of Stroll again. But Stroll's having none of it. Despite the cheeky squeeze, he dives it down the inside. However, like the slimy salamander we are, he makes contact with us, which I wasn't a fan of. But we do get back past Lance Stroll, and that will be P11 once again here. Whew. Well, let's have a little break then. 5 red lights off the start, rather, should I say. Not the restart. Idiot. Stupid. However, to give you some spicy sibilance, shooting off the start line is Sergio on his soft tyres, but Sainz is shooting off even more. Like a bullet out of a gun. Straight away, he fires his way down the inside. 3 wide between the lead 3 cars. Perez sandwiched in the middle. Somehow, despite that, finds the momentum, and he leads the Italian Grand Prix. What a start from the Mexican driver. Incredible bravery from what has been the number 2 driver, really, all the way through this, just all the time. I'm sorry, Sergio, but it's true. However, today, looking to prove the doubters wrong, but here's lap number 2. This is a replay of the 4 wide moment between us, Alonso, Albon, and Piastri. Always going to end in tears. I don't know why we stayed there. We should have just backed out and let them do it themselves. Eventually, we do on the outside. But in the end, Alex Albon, despite being in the middle, it's clearly the best place to be, because up into P8 goes the Williams driver. Fantastic stuff, and on those soft tyres, he'll bite into the bitumen significantly more than myself and Alonso, who are strapped on those medium tyres for the beginning of this race. Albon defending successfully there, but this is the thumbnail shot right here. You'll see it as you come onto this video. What an absolute gem of a thumbnail shot. You can't possibly do better. Lap number 3, DRS enabled on this lap, and we haven't really kept up with those up ahead. It's actually Ocon that could be looking to put us under some pressure, although he's about 6 miles away from us, so we'll be absolutely fine. It's Albon and Alonso, though, going side by side, which is bringing them down to our level, and now we are right back in the hunt once again. I will say the amount of downforce I had probably was too small, given the situation. I probably should have added a bit more, just to give myself a little bit more of an advantage into the corners, but that won't deter us. Diving down the inside of Oscar Piastri, and it's the Ferrari and the Mercedes cars ahead that are bringing them down as well to this level. A massive gaggle of cars then, as we head through Lesmo 1 and into Lesmo 2. Things get very interesting. We actually don't have the greatest set of right-hand corners. We get it all together for Lesmo 2 again. And a purple Sector 1 is to our name. But Piastri is having a perler of an exit. And down towards Ascari, we're going to get absolutely launched. But I say not today, sir. Turn his world upside down, because he's Australian. And we're back up into P10. We are in the points in the AlphaTauri. The team that is firmly sat on the bottom of the constructors ladder is looking to try and catch back up to the likes of Alfa Romeo and Co, and Williams especially, actually, up ahead. So Alonso gets it crossed up on Parabolica, and that is all the impetus we need. What a piece of momentum that we have, and with DRS wide open, it can only get even better. We're past Albon, we're past Lewis Hamilton, Sainz without DRS, and we're going to be alongside Alonso into the first chicane, down the inside, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is 4 positions in a straight. How about that? My goodness me, what a piece of racecraft that is. And on to lap number 5 now. Well, oh, just, you know what, curb my enthusiasm, because here comes Carlos Sainz, and we don't even bother fighting it, to be honest with you. Just let him go, because at this point, the more we fight, the more time we're just going to lose to those up ahead, like Russell, like Leclerc, like Norris. Meanwhile, there's yellow flags up ahead, and you'll see why now. On board with Nico Hülkenberg, just been passed by my teammate Tsunoda, by the way, who's actually having a very good run at things in this race, despite us clearly being better. But into the chicane, and it's absolute heartbreak for Haas. Nico Hülkenberg hardly doing well in comparison to his teammate in the standings, and that's the last thing he needed. And once again, the internal combustion engine really does turn into the internally combusting engine. Approaching the end of lap number 5 then, and oh God! Alonso's right onto us, on the outside of us as we head into Parabolica. Sainz defends the inside. We're actually boxed in here, so we say, okay then, you two can have a scrap of your own. We actually keep up very nicely as they both compromise their momentum to some extent. And once again, this feels like deja vu, doesn't it? Down the main straight we go. Look at that nice little shot. I remember to actually put some aesthetics in this time, but we chop straight to the inside. And just like before, the inside line will prove to pay dividends. Down the inside, Alonso actually makes contact with us, but it won't matter. It will not matter. Back up into P6, 8 points to our name. And Daniel Ricciardo, the return to Formula 1, well, what he had to do to prove himself was get more points than the man he replaced, Nick de Vries. And so far, he's proving to do the works, which is great news for him. Meanwhile, Ocon, actually defending from Albon, successfully does it. So well done him. End of lap number 6 then, and as we head round the Parabolica, we're going to come into the pits at the end of this lap and fit on a fresh set of, I can confirm, soft tyres. Because you'd have to be a moron to fit anything else. So into the pits we go, speed limit is met, we trundle down the pit lane. There goes the Red Bull of Max Verstappen, and as we come into the pits, oh yes, purple turn in, my eardrums are bleeding. A good stop from the AlphaTauri boys, thank you very much, 2.4 seconds, and we'll see what the gap is to the likes of Russell, and maybe even Norris ahead, because he's actually stayed out for one more lap. So that's a very interesting move, and it could well bring him down to our level. It's probably not where he would have wanted, considering he's in that McLaren, but you know what, it would be justice for poor Danny Rick here, considering McLaren, well, depending on what you think, screwed him over. Clearly in the AlphaTauri, settling in sublimely though. Halfway through this race, just over at the fulcrum point, and we're in P13, but here come all the other drivers coming into the pit lane, and out of the pits, there's a big gap up ahead, but here we go. We've jumped Sainz and Alonso, and convincingly, and Sainz on hards. you know what? I'm not even surprised. I'm just disappointed. However, here's the thing I'm more interested in. Lando Norris coming out of the pit lane, and the gap to him is just over 1.5 seconds. So that's very interesting. Also, the fact he's on mediums, and of course our tyre life isn't that much different. So, as we go on through this phase, hopefully we can start reeling in this McLaren fish. And I tell you what, I'm feeling a bit peckish for a Lando Norris narwhal. So strap yourselves in for this roller coaster ride, because we try and get 10 points to the name of AlphaTauri in this last to first challenge. Verstappen inevitably with the fastest lap, but here we come across the line for our fastest lap of the race, and it's a 1:21.8. So not too bad at all. And the chase is on. We're going to have to curtail our casserolling for just a second, as apparently my synapses have skill issues. But here's Perez coming out of the pit lane, and he's on the hard. Right, well, Max Verstappen's won, everyone. Give him a clap. Well done. So Sergio might have sensationally screwed himself here, but we'll find out. But actually, you know what? The actual big point here is he's got a sizable gap to his teammate. So Perez and Verstappen, they have been fighting hammer and tong in this race. Someone else who is Lewis Hamilton, trying to get up into further echelons of the points here, trying to actually scoop up some tasty point ice cream in the form of 9th place. Ocon, though, defending extremely well in that Alpine, all things considered. Hamilton going to the outside of La Roja. Here he comes. Thinks about probably switchbacking it like Schumacher did in 98, but Ocon curtails that particular eventuality, and he has to remain in P10, although not for long. DRS wide open for the Mercedes man as I rub my nose, but I do not turn my nose up at that. Lewis Hamilton now up into 9th place and on the soft tyres, and given the fact that Sainz is on hards and Alonso and him will be fighting furiously, let's be honest, Hamilton could yet be in the fight for at least 6 points in this race, if not more. Speaking of which, here's Alonso, the wily old fox, trying to go for a move, but Sainz completely chops him off. That's not very nice. We enter the double figures of laps in this race and actually go on to lap number 11, because I'm about to show you an absolutely tremendous turn of events. And by that I mean a tremendous 2 corners. Through into the chicane we go. We actually lock up the rears a little bit, and as we slide through the first corner, the rotation we get is immense, and the gap is, I kid you not, 4/10 lower than it was before. Oh my gosh, we are absolutely cooking. I told you the casserolling was happening, and now we're bringing the pot to a boil. We're beginning to zest up the ingredients. Add a little bit of spice. Through La Roja we go. The gap still remains at a second. We are cooking. Here's Lewis Hamilton just surveying the back of Sainz and Alonso. Oh, you thought we would actually catch Norris? Well, have you seen the bulldozer we're driving? Crikey Christ, 3 wide into Parabolica. That's brave, to say the least. Hamilton has the inside, squeezes out Alonso, who's on the outside of Sainz. Now it's going to be 2 by 2 here. It's like Noah's Ark here, except there's nothing to do with Noah's Ark because they're not the same cars. But Hamilton does have DRS, so does Sainz. Ocon's making it 3 wide and getting up close and personal. Hamilton says, stop that right now. He has the middle, but once again, the middle proves to be the place to be. Just like Perez, just like Albon, Hamilton bites into the bitumen, and that's P7 for the Mercedes man. Fantastic from the 7-time world champion, although it could prove to be a slightly, a foregone conclusion for him, because remember, there are still going to be opportunities with DRS for those behind him. However, the last lap of the Grand Prix, with nothing happened, you could have watched Star Wars 7 through 9 and had a more fun time than watching the last 2 laps of my race. But championship leader Verstappen, who currently leads, Perez finally has an answer to his queries, it looks like. Not a moment too soon. On the penultimate straight into Parabolica, Perez briefly leads this race. Verstappen over the inside line, and oh my goodness, it's going to be a drag race to the line. Who's going to win it? It's Perez that wins! Oh my goodness me! By the slimmest of margins, one of the smallest margins in Formula 1 history, Sergio Perez made me hold my breath, awaiting the result, and the Mexican driver, who I normally insult, wins the Italian Grand Prix. Mesmerising stuff there. Meanwhile, here we are. And it did get very boring for the softs completely tanked. I'm not even kidding. It would have been actually better driving an actual tank round this track. But even so, AlphaTauri, who have hardly seen points, there's confirmation of Perez winning the Italian Grand Prix. AlphaTauri have hardly whiffed points this season, but they're going to get the full 3 courses as we get 6th place at the Italian Grand Prix. Ricciardo's return is not in vain for the Italian-based team, and at one of their home venues, they come through with the goods. driver of the day for the Australian. He turns most of the grid's heads upside down. And what a drive that was.
Great use of the clear air today then, and didn't allow anyone to exploit the slipstream behind them. What a great win here at Monza. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
I feel like consistency was probably the key today. There's being quick, and then there's being quick lap after lap after lap. If you can do that, you can capitalise on other people's errors without making many of your own. And that's an approach that can push you a long way up the field.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. It's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves.
Wow, Red Bull won another race. Who expected that? Although, it wasn't the Red Bull you might have expected. Sergio Perez feels right at home at the Temple of Speed. Hand against his chest, he is your winner of the Italian Grand Prix. Hit the ground running here at Monza. Things not all as they seem, the slipstream's supremely powerful, although the Tifosi can jump for joy a little bit, as there is Charles Leclerc to give them some kind of happiness. But there we go. That's the Italian Grand Prix, ladies and gentlemen. Your victor by just 16 thousandths of a second, Sergio Perez. Oh my goodness me. A battle that went all race long for the Red Bull duo, going back and forth, exchanging overtakes with the help of DRS. But in the end, it will be the Mexican Minister of Defense who turned his defense into an assaulting attack to make it first place. Fantastic stuff. Mercedes with a pretty up and down result. George Russell in 4th, Hamilton in 9th. McLaren, though, Norris in 5th, Piastri not even in the points. Hulkenberg the only DNF, but for us, I haven't even talked about us. Great race from us, my goodness me. Even in that tractor, we managed to get P6. We took advantage of the AI fighting, the rest of the grid sorting out amongst themselves. We drove our own race, kept it calm, and AlphaTauri have yet more points on the table. Fantastic stuff. And I have nothing else to add, because all the excitement I've exasperated from my body. What a crazy event here at Monza. And it will be wise to believe that all of this will continue at the new layout, because we head to Singapore next. Before we head to another continent, though, let's take a quick look at the Drivers' Championship standings. Max Verstappen, then, advantage actually cut down to 102 points because Perez has now overtaken Leclerc in the standings. Perez's 3rd win of the season. He's looking to try and finally mount a challenge on the seemingly ever-invincible Max Verstappen. Leclerc, though, with the podium increases his advantage to hold down 3rd place ahead of George Russell. Sainz actually losing ground on the Mercedes man, and Hamilton losing ground on all of them. But hopefully in Singapore, they'll have an answer to it. Alonso finally in the hundreds worth of points, but Norris is catching him. It's not really much position change, though. The only man who really did make up time was Daniel Ricciardo. 8 points means he's joint with Nico Hulkenberg now for 16th place, and is now ahead of the guy he replaced, Nick de Vries. Only one man, and it's still, unbelievably, Guan Yu Zhou. What? He finished 19th in that race. I had no idea what happened. I'm gonna have to help him out at this rate. This is unbelievable. Looking at the constructors' standings, though, and if you think why Ferrari only gained 1 point since last race, the math didn't math. I ballsed it, and I'm sorry. That's all I have to say. But Red Bull now lead by 143 points from their next closest competitor. The battle for second still very much on, though, between Ferrari and Mercedes, and McLaren are still well and truly reeling in Aston Martin. AlphaTauri do increase their points total, but nowhere near Williams in the standings. Maybe they can get a good result over in Singapore. Well, you'll just have to wait and find out, won't you? Thank you very much for watching round number 15 of the Last to First Championship. My goodness, we're really rocketing along with this series, aren't we? If you did enjoy the Italian Grand Prix, just complete chaos from start to finish, then be sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. Again, still an astronomical amount of you haven't subscribed, and I'm very cross. But if you hit that subscribe button, I'll be a happy bunny. Will Max Verstappen win again over in Singapore? Well, probably. Although I said that last time, and today it wasn't true. So we hold our hopes high. Until then, though, I once again thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and until next time, I'll see you soon.